Hi everyone, my name is Greg. I'm in the design phase of building my first layout as an adult, and I'm planning to document the process with a series of videos. The purpose of this video is to introduce myself, give some background, and talk through some of the planning process to date. Growing up, my father had a growing layout. We used to go to train meets, and I had some trains I used on his layout. When I went off to college, I lost interest in the hobby. I'm in my mid-30s and now getting involved in the hobby again. In the fall of 2017, my father and I went to a couple trade meets and I started getting the basics. He had my childhood set, a Lionel 2065 medium Hudson with freight cars and a loop of track that he gave me to get started. I picked up a KW and was ready to build my first layout under the Christmas tree. The initial plan was to build in the unfinished area of the basement, which limited the size of the layout. I started by designing layouts using SCARM, SCARM software. One issue with the space was that the layout could not be expanded. The U-shaped layout on screen now was one of the final concepts. The layout is made up of two 4x8 sections connected by a 3x4 section. I liked that it had 4 different train loops, including an O-27 trolley loop, a grade changing loop, as well as 2 longer main lines. My father suggested I tape the outline of the platform in another area and build some of the loops to get a feel for it. Before finishing the outer loop, I realized it looked too small and crowded. It didn't have long straightaways, and the widest curve was only 42 inches. It wasn't long before I measured out the main area of the basement and went back to the drawing board with a new layout idea. Using the finished area in the rec room, I decided to go with a dog bone concept. The innermost loop is O-27. Again, I built the outer loop on the carpet. I looked at it wondering how it would fit 2 more loops on the inside. It just seemed so crowded. With the SCARM application, make sure you view the plan in 3D mode. If it looks crowded there, it's going to be crowded in real life. After building the outer loop of the dog bone on the carpet, I did some slight expansion based on how much space I actually had. I made those changes in SCARM, which lightened some of the crowding issues. The outer loop has 54-inch curve with the main inner line at 42 inches. This gives me longer sweeping curves. I thought about using 72-inch curve, but I didn't want to lose the nice long straightaway I have at the top of the layout. This brings me to where I am today. The next step is to add the inner loop, followed by the O-27 trolley loop, and see how that all comes together. As you can tell, I have it off the wall about 18 or 20 inches, so I'll have a little over a foot to walk around the platform. So far, the plan only includes 31-inch curved switches, and I'm only using those for sidings. You could see the pull-off siding. So far, I really like the design of this layout and how it operates in real life. It doesn't look too crowded. I might feel differently about that once the second and third loops are incorporated, but the flow looks good. This is my first layout, so I'm bound to make some mistakes. I'm trying not to take over the entire basement at one time. I'm also trying not to build a monstrosity on the first attempt. So this thing's already pretty big for a first layout. I just know I would get very annoyed with, a 4x8 to start out. And I have the room, so I'm going to try to use it. I hope the video wasn't too long or boring. I hope folks just starting out find my process helpful. If you have comments or suggestions, please leave them below. I'm interested in feedback from anyone who's built layouts before or have gone through the growing pains. Thanks.